Hello and welcome back to the Sportsway Podcast. I am your host, Bryson Amron, joined by my good friend, Austin Van Berkleo. Today we got a loaded podcast. VB, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Bryson. Thank you.
So obviously the Leafs won. We'll get into more of that in a second. How are you feeling? Because they're down 3-1 in the series. The Leafs. I posted about it on the Instagram. The Leafs would be the fifth team in NHL history to come back down from 3 games to none. Are you confident in Austin Matthews or any of those three big stars with John Tavares? And like I said, we'll be getting to this in a second. But how confident are you in the Leafs?
If there's any reason that 3-0 comebacks only happen in hockey, it's happened in baseball once. It's never happened in basketball. But there's a reason it's happened 4 times in hockey. And there's a reason it's going to happen again. We're playing the 8 seed Florida Panthers. We just won on the road. We're going to win the next game at home. And then all we have to do is win game 6, and then we win game 7. It's just
See,
that easy.
that's I like your
It's that
mindset. It's
easy.
just it's not
Yeah.
over until it's over. Yeah.
It's not over until it's over.
So anyway, we're gonna get into this. The Kentucky Derby. Kind of just run over this because this was big this weekend. Mage wins the 149th running of the Kentucky Derby with a time of 2 minutes and some change. Mage won by a length, whatever that means. I'm not big into horse racing. I just looked up what the summary was.
It's a
I
length of
watched
a
it.
horse.
I know, I know, but
What you just said you
just
didn't know.
saying.
Okay.
Against two fills, which the apostrophe in the fills it doesn't make sense, but horse names are weird. And then coming back from one's position to 18th place, taking the outside on that back turn, and um, ran down the back stretch and made a heck of a story out of it. Really, really would like to thank Jack Settleman. But this was really interesting to watch. I kind of always watch the Derby, not really paying attention much to it, but I kind of like it. It's kind of growing on me just watching horses race, but just for a once every year thing. Kind of like the Masters and then all those big golf tournaments that they have, the four majors. I don't watch any golf outside of that. But that happened over the weekend. That was really what I wanted to just get into. And now we can get into the NHL and NBA playoffs. We're just going to start with the NHL. Obviously, talk about the Leafs. 19 years to get past round one, and the Leafs still managed to make their fans going back to hating them. Now, obviously, they won a game in round two, so I can't use the joke anymore. But I had texted you. I think it was like 19 years in round one, and they still might not win a game in round two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the Leafs stars have gone absolutely cold. Minus Mitch Marner tonight. He had 2 points, um, which just ended in game four. But obviously, Austin Matthews 2 points. Both assists, by the way. John Tavares 0 points. He's kind of just skating around out there. And then obviously Mitch Marner with 3 points. He had one before game four. Very lackluster play. Tavares, obviously, like I said, has been skating around, doing zero help whatsoever. Um, but I mean, I don't know how much you watch it because it's on the same time the Lakers game is on, and you're obviously a bigger basketball guy than hockey, and I like hockey playoffs more than the NBA playoffs. But um, it really is disappointing to see you go from a performance like they had in round one with all three of those guys, and I mean it wasn't, but they had a couple points going into it, but I mean they at least had some points. Tavares had the game winner to send the Leafs to round two, and now he's kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth. Um, so I think, like you said, if anything can happen, obviously you win one game, just take it one game at a time. Um, but those three stars, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner, are going to definitely have to step up if the Leafs want any chance of coming back from a 3-1 deficit now after Game Four.
Yeah, I mean, every game has been lost by 1 or 2 goals. Last 2 games, last game obviously in overtime. Game before that, 1 goal. First game, 2 goals. They've been completely close games, and this is the reason why 3-0 comebacks are possible in hockey is because anything can happen. I mean, obviously you're seeing an 8 seed right now have the chance to go to the I don't the
Eastern
whatever the
Conference
conference, yeah,
Finals.
the Eastern
Yeah,
Conference Finals of their of the NHL playoffs, and it just goes to show you that it's literally just like a bounce of a puck. Like I've seen goals in the playoffs and the few playoff games I've watched, pucks randomly bounce off sticks, deflecting into the goals. It's very sort of unpredictable, which is why a lot of people love NHL. It's very fast paced, and why some other people may not find it as interesting because it's kind of not luck based, but there is a big factor of luck in the game compared to other sports. So that's why I think it's still possible for the Leafs to come back. So Um,
And to be just to be a little hater, kind of an Islanders fan. That's the first hockey game I ever turned on. John Tavares having 0 points makes me happy. Again, he left Long Island. But now we're just gonna get into this. Dallas is in trouble. I, I I had this typed up before yesterday's game, so after all the hype I was giving Jake Ottinger last episode, he had some very poor performances, pretty much like a script. I'm gonna be honest. Rounds 1 and 2 are very similar. Um, Game 1 in both series, overtime losses for the Stars, and then Game 2 they bounce back and dominate, and then Game 3 Dallas looks sloppy. Very poor performance from Jake Ottinger in both series. Again, Minnesota and Seattle, and now Game 4, both series Dallas dominates. Um, Dallas won 6-3 yesterday against the Kraken. Jake turned his performance around with 16 saves. And then Max Domi um, kind of got him. We got him in free agency last year. 2 goals, 1 assist, just elevated the whole team when he was on the ice last night. And then Game 5 will be tomorrow, Thursday night. It's a must-win game for Dallas, I feel like, because Seattle's offense is very electric, and I mean, Seattle's just a very good offensive team, and they're a very good defensive team. Um, that's kind of really it. I mean, Dallas, obviously, like I said, must-win game, but also at the same time, if you can just squeak by, I think even with a loss, you have a chance to then go back to Seattle, win a game, and then take it to a Game 7 back in Dallas. Um, so I'm just going to jump into this one now, just because I don't think you have anything to say about that. Um, Not going to talk too much about this, but this is probably the most exciting series this postseason in the NHL. It's Vegas versus Edmonton. To say the face of hockey, Connor McDavid, might not be the best player on his team might shock many, but Leon Draisaitl, he's got 17 points this postseason. He's got 13 goals and 4 assists. If you're not into hockey, I would suggest if there's any game you were going to watch, it's going to be between these two teams. And I believe the winner of this could go on to the Stanley Cup final and even better, winning the whole thing. And then just for you non-hockey fans, I think a comparison for these two with the most popular sport on the world, the NFL, I think a comparison would be the Bills and the Bengals. The Bills being the Oilers, they haven't been to the postseason, but they have a really, really good core of players. And then the Bengals being Vegas, they've got their one time with this core that they have. And then obviously Vegas is an expansion team, but um, the Bengals have Joe Burrow when they just got to the championship and lost. So I compare those two teams to being the Bills versus the Bengals if you're not a hockey fan. And that kind of wraps up the NHL. Hopefully, next episode, VB's Leafs will have moved on because they play Game 7 if they get there next Tuesday, I think, and we'll probably record on a Wednesday. And then hopefully my Stars get to round 3, which would be the Western Conference Finals. And then we're just gonna go with the NBA. We're gonna jump right in. We're gonna start with yesterday's games and move through. VB Philly takes a not so commanding lead against the Celtics, 3 games to 2. And the only reason I say it's not so commanding, it really just was the Brown and Tatum show. Tatum had 36 points on 11 of 27 shooting, not the best night for him. But Jaylen Brown also had 24 points to back it up. 9 of 16 shooting, and the only other player to score over 10 points on the Celtics was Marcus Smart, and 8 of his 14 points came from the free throw line. Free throw line. Um, and I say this again, it really only does feel it's not so commanding because we've seen this in the past where the Celtics have choked games like this, and usually yesterday would have been the game where they choked, but they didn't. They somehow scraped the win and they take a 3 games to 2 lead. So I want to get your opinion. Are we buying into this Sixers team or should we continue to ride with the Celtics?
you're saying the Sixers took a not so commanding 3-2 lead, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Is that what I said
So
or did I mean
I
this
think
is
you yeah no, you're good, you're good.
okay.
So basically the problem with the Celtics is most teams in the playoffs at this point have not a third star but a third scorer, someone that they can lean on when obviously Tatum takes a lot of shots, Jaylen Brown. When they're not on the floor, teams have a third scorer. The Knicks have it. The Knicks have it with they have Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, and Julius Randle. They have those 3 guys they can give the ball to at any time and get them a bucket. You also still have guys like Josh Hart that can work an ISO pretty well. Emmanuel quickly when he's in the rotation late in the game. Heat have it, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and then you still have guys like Caleb Martin who can get you buckets late in the game, can stretch the floor for you. Um, and obviously Kyle Lowry. But the Celtics don't have that. They don't have. It's supposed to be Malcolm Brogdon. He's been a ghost this entire playoffs. He was in the starting rotation for them earlier.
Per usual.
Yeah, the it was Derek White early in the first round. He's not getting a lot of minutes, but it can't be Al Horford. Can't be Robert Williams. Can't be Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's not an efficient shooter. He's not. He doesn't work well with the ball in his hands. He's very turnover prone. So that's why you get into these high scoring games, which I believe their game last night was extremely high scoring. Somewhat, yeah. Sixers put up 115 on them. It just kind of shows in the playoffs you need a third guy to lean on. Obviously, the Sixers have four. Tyrese Maxey, I believe, had 33 last night or 35. It was the Tyrese Maxey show. Harden did what he needed to do. I think he had 9 or 10 assists again. Embiid, monster night. Tobias Harris, great from three. They have those four guys that they can lean on the offensive end. But yeah, it's just something the Celtics don't have. I do think they win Game 6. I think the Sixers have to win this next game in order to win the series. I think if it goes to a
Oh, for
seven,
sure. Yeah.
if it goes to a seven back in the Garden, I don't think that bodes too
Now
well for the
anything can happen in
76ers.
the game seven, but I mean
Yeah,
Celtics or in the
I
Sixers do not have the best history.
I especially in Game Sevens on the road,
Mhm.
Kawhi Leonard and just in the past in
Gravity
general.
gravity defined Kawhi Leonard shot.
Mhm. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that series. Sixers need to go out and win the next game.
I we have a couple. I have a couple more things, but I mean we're a PJ Tucker and James Harden historic play away. PJ Tucker's play in Game 4, I want to say, was huge. It shifted. I feel like it shifted that whole game. Obviously, went into overtime after James Harden hit a massive shot, and then he hit the overtime winner. But I mean, we're a James Harden, PJ Tucker away from that series being 3-1 going into last night. And then if the Celtics, I mean, obviously the series isn't over yesterday. Excuse me, but obviously the series wouldn't have been over if the Celtics or the Sixers had won. But going into that, if they were down 3-1, the mindset probably could have been different. It would have differed with the Celtic or the 76ers. Sorry, good lord. With the 76ers mindset being different if they were down 3-1, because without that PJ Tucker play at the end of Game 4 and then going into overtime, James Harden's big shot, I think the whole mindset of that 76ers team, because it's like, okay, here we go again. We're down 3-1. We're not going to be able to come back. Um, because I kind of felt like the Hawks. I did watch this game. I kind of felt it like the Hawks that one year they were the one seed. The Sixers were a couple years ago. I think it was 2020 or 2021, where they were the one seed and they were down 3-1 to the Hawks, or they were down 2 games to 1 to the Hawks, and then the whole series shifted, and then Trae Young and them upset, and they went on a Cinderella run to the Eastern Conference Finals. Um, but I obviously think the mindset is completely there for the Sixers. They just have to win this game. This is a must-win game for the 76ers, like you said. And then I have one more thing on this. How well is James Harden going to have to play in Game 6 for the 76ers to win? Because I feel like he's not been inconsistent. I think he had 20 plus points last night, but that he goes off for 45 and then he kind of just disappears and does his own thing on the court when Joel Embiid gets back.
I think
Um,
I'll say something super quick and we'll move on. I think James Harden's good enough and has been in the league long enough and is smart enough on the offensive side to know when he needs that 40-point type of night.
yeah.
Last night, obviously, when you'll see early, he'll shoot the ball early. I think he only shot 8 shots last night, I believe. I think he had 16 points, 10 assists. Didn't need to shoot the ball a lot because obviously Embiid had 33, Tyrese Maxey had 30. Yeah, shot the ball 8 times, almost had a triple double, 17 points. I mean,
Okay, my bad. I thought he had 20.
no, yeah, it's around the same. But I mean, he knows when to turn it on and off, and I think he honestly just realizes that very early on into the game when he needs to do that. And well, maybe Embiid's not feeling it, Tyrese Maxey's not feeling it, and maybe we see another 40-point game out of him. But I think he's smart enough to know when he needs to do that.
Yeah. So now we're moving on to the nightcap game of last night. The Nuggets are 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, I think you're a Suns fan because of KD. But before I get into this, before we get into any of this, Devin Booker is the best player in the NBA right now. I don't think it's any question. He's had one of the best playoff runs of all time. Booker would be right up there if he continues this and they continue. and they win tomorrow, and then they win into Game 7, he would be up there with the likes of Jordan and LeBron with the way he's playing because Devin Booker this postseason, 60% from field goal.
Whoa,
No, no,
whoa.
no. Okay, okay, hold on. Playoff performances, not up there like. Okay, I should have specified that before I said it. He's not going to be a player like that we look at, but the playoff performance, like his playoff run that he's having right now, he's shooting
Yeah.
60% from the field,
Okay. Yeah.
51% from three,
Yes. Okay.
5 rebounds per game, 7 assists, and 36 points per game. Um, I think his playoff, he's the best player. Like if we had a redraft, I would not draft him first but the play like I would not draft him first in a like fantasy draft or something like that beginning the season next year. But in this postseason, he has had a heck of a postseason,
Hmm.
and he is carried, regardless of how good Kevin Durant is, he's carried the Suns to where they are right now. And I think it's only a matter of time before we kind of see the help around him, not just KD, but like the help from the bench players that they have, Moses Brown, all those kind of really like bench roles that they had in the regular season. Obviously, CP3 being out has hurt them, but I don't think it's hurt them enough to where they can't win a playoff series because this team, the Suns team, is really good. And I know they traded away their bench depth for Kevin Durant, but I really like this Suns team. I'm not a big Nuggets fan, so I am rooting for the Suns in this series. Um, but let's just get into this. Jokic was absolutely tearing apart the Suns. He's averaging 31 points per game, a triple double. How can the Suns turn this around, and should they be worried at this point?
It's gonna take more aggressive play out of Kevin Durant to turn this series around. Um, he's been very passive. I watched that Suns game last night. He's sitting on the wings a lot on the offensive side of the ball, and he's kind of just standing there with his hands out. There's not a lot of movement out of him on the offensive side, which obviously he's used to taking the ball up um, when he wants to get a shot, and he can get a shot whenever. But it's kind of hard to do that when you have a guy like Devin Booker who's absolutely shooting the lights out. He doesn't. KD doesn't know really where to pick his spots to uh to turn it up. Obviously we had a good game last night, but I think it just once again they need a third guy. Missing Chris Paul really hurt them last night. He's that third guy that kind of facilitates for him. Aiton wasn't aggressive at all last night, which is hard to do playing against a guy like Jokic, which is I still think Jokic is the best player in the league. I mean the way the what he does for an offense off ball, just movement around him. It's literally like for people that have never watched basketball, it's literally like people running circles and he's just like holding the ball. It's absolutely insane that a center can facilitate like that. Um, just a lot of good playoff series. I don't know which one this way is going to go. I still lean towards the Nuggets in 7, Nuggets in 6 area just because of bench depth. I think that's going to, as this series drags on longer, and I don't know the severity of Chris Paul's injury, but as the series
Actually, I think
drags
I
on
got
longer,
something.
I think it favors the team with more bench depth. And honestly, they have around the same experience, both
Yeah,
guys.
okay, I did get a notification. I saw this. CP3 will miss tomorrow's game 6, which is now a must-win game due to his strained groin. So yeah, CP3's out for game 6, and that kind of changes things. I feel like. I mean, not that he has been any help in this series because he hasn't played, but the mindset now of the Nuggets is like, okay, well they don't have their facilitator because I think the Suns were expecting him to come back game 6, game 5 area. So I mean that's a huge blow for them. Obviously they haven't had
Yeah.
him the whole series, but still pretty still a lot of basketball left to be played. Booker and KD, do they have enough juice left, or is this kind of like obviously you have the Nuggets in 6 or 7? Is this kind of it for them? Like even if Booker and KD go off because of the help around them, kind of like the Celtics had last night.
Um, I don't think so. I think Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, if they're both on the same night, can beat any team in the NBA. And it's the playoffs. I think it's a series you're just gonna have to watch and see. It's hard to predict. I'd give the Nuggets like a 70% chance to win the series,
Ooh.
and 30 the other way for the Suns.
So the games now, we're going on to the games tonight. We'll talk about the Lakers and then we'll talk about the Heat. This Lakers, this has been the series. This has been the highlight, the ESPN, the TNT, whatever station it's on, whatever. network it's on. This is the prime time. Everybody wants to watch this one. The Lakers are toying with the Warriors. Golden State's down 3 games to 1, and the game's on right now. Let me check the score real quick. It is
Warriors, yeah,
56
Warriors are up 8.
61. Warriors are winning. Um, but the series is on the line right now, and Golden State has to have their foot on the pedal because could honestly, like in all honesty, be the end of their dynasty. If they don't make it out of the postseason this year, because I feel like Draymond Green's going to go somewhere in the offseason, try to get money, or just leave Golden State. Um, but I have written down Curry can't do it all because I did watch some of this game last night. Or I'm sorry, 2 days ago. I watched it, and Curry really is. Just Klay Thompson was irrelevant in that game, in that game four, and Curry kind of carried the load, and he's doing it again tonight. No, sort of. He's 4 for 8, 9 points. But my point is, Curry just can't. Curry needs help this postseason or this series, and he hasn't gotten that, and that's why they're down 3 games to 1. He is only averaging 25 points per game. But uh, what would a win do for the Warriors tonight, if anything? Like, would it do anything, or is
It would
Braun
keep them in the playoffs.
okay? Okay,
I mean,
okay, whatever. Um, would would it mean anything? Like, would a win like, or is this pretty much over?
oh,
Like,
it'd mean a lot. Going back to Staples Center for Game 6, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on guys who haven't played in that sort of a situation before, which would be the entirety of the Lakers roster outside of LeBron and AD, obviously. Compared to a team that's played in those games, played in every single one of those high pressure games like they did in that entire Sacramento series, having to win that game 3, having to win that game 5 at home, or sorry, on the road, and having to win that game 7 on the road. Um, this team, the Golden State Warriors, are just prepared to play in those types of games. And I think the Lakers are just going to shoot their best shot in that game 6. And whoever wins that game 6, if it ends up happening, which I think the Warriors are up 10 now. So if that ends up going to a game 6, I really think that will
that does not mean
decide.
anything.
I think it won't decide, but
BB,
I'm
BB, BB. The Dallas Mavericks were up 27 on the Lakers, and we lost. 10-point leads in the NBA are like a
oh, I
field goal in
wasn't.
football.
I understand. I understand that this
No,
game
I
is far
know.
from over. I'm saying that game 6 matters a whole lot. I
Yes.
mean,
Okay. Okay.
it's almost every series at this point. I mean, that's
It
all you
doesn't
really have to.
feel like this postseason, like the way the talent is. Sorry, I cut you off, but this
Uh,
postseason, like the talent, it doesn't feel like a 3-1 deficit or a 3-2 is like the series is over, like where it was
uh,
in the past. Because the teams that are still alive and the teams that are still fighting are all so good and they could all go on a winning streak. And it brings back to the NHL, like just kind of like the Leafs, like the Leafs are talented enough to where they probably could come back from 3-0. But back to the NBA, like it doesn't matter if you're down 3 games to 1 or 3 games to 2. Like the series is not over until it's over, and I think that the talent that is still in the NBA, the teams that are in the playoffs are really talented enough to get this thing rolling. And I think the Warriors are very capable of coming back from 3 games to 1. That'd be pretty cool. Kind of like big fu to LeBron
hmm
for that championship that they had. Um, so we can jump into this final game. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson scores 38 points, and the Knicks beat the Heat 112 and 103 in Game 5. Um, they're a team fighting from 3 games to 1. But playoff Brunson, I've been saying this since he left Dallas and they got to the postseason this year. He's going to be a problem, regardless of whoever the Knicks play, and he continues to be a problem. And you said it before we even started recording. I don't know why we traded him, or I mean, let him walk. And I can't tell you. I could not tell you why we let Jalen Brunson walk. He was that guy perfect for Luca, and he is proving himself why he deserved that bag this postseason. Um, so obviously, Jimmy Butler playoffs, maybe they're just taking a rest, going back to Miami, going to try to win game 6 there. But do the Knicks have any life in them with this win? Obviously, they're still in the postseason. Don't be like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But um, do they have any life? Because obviously, like sometimes these games when they're down 3-1, it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna like rest our starters or like not give our starters big minutes because we're already up 3 games to one. We'll at least have 2 games, like at maximum, have 2 games to go win one. So is that the Heat? Is that the mindset of the Heat? I couldn't, or is it the Knicks like trying to fight back and obviously trying to get back into this series?
I think as soon as a game hits a game six, I think every team is just fighting for their lives at that point. Um, I think obviously the Knicks have life. I think they're good enough to win these next 2 games. And I think that's mainly just because Miami's an 8 seed. They don't have Tower Hero. And in the games the Heat have won, Jimmy Butler's gone absolutely berserk. Obviously, the team's played really
Playoff
well
Butler,
around him.
baby.
It's insane. But yeah, I think as soon as a series hits a game six, then I think it's anyone's game. But just to run through super quick what I think is going to happen, I have the Lakers winning in six. I have the Heat winning in seven. I think excuse me, I have the Heat winning in six. I have the Nuggets winning in seven, and why am I forgetting the last series? And the Celtics winning in seven. So those are those
I
are
I
those are my
kind of have the opposite of you, honestly. I have the Sixers winning in six. I have the Suns winning in seven. I have the Lakers. I have the Lakers winning in six, and then I have the Knicks winning in seven.
okay.
I like New York. Did you say New York or did you say the Heat? No,
I
you
said
said
the
the Heat.
Heat.
I like New York. I like what they have. I think this is a team that at the maximum goes to the conference finals. I don't think they get past the Sixers or the Celtics, but I feel like it would be such a funny coincidence or such just a funny genuine meme for all the Philly fans. Um, if the Sixers do close it out in six and then they go and lose to Miami, an 8 seed, just all the hard stuff that they've
Mm.
been through as a fan base, that would be such a shot in the like foot for their fan base. But it'd be because nobody likes Philadelphia fans, nobody likes Sixers
No.
fans, nobody likes anybody like from that area except for Micah Parsons. But um, I think it would be hilarious to see a Miami an 8 seed beat the Sixers in the conference finals to go to the NBA finals. Um, that's kind of it for the NBA, though. We do. I have one more thing. I didn't write it down. The NFL schedule comes out tomorrow. Did you
Uh-huh.
get a chance to see any of the leaks that have come out?
No, I did not.
So there's a couple overseas games. I couldn't tell you where
It
exactly. I just have
it's
the
probably London, Germany, Mexico.
yes, but I'm saying like I can't. I don't know exactly where it is, but anyway, the Falcons and Jaguars play overseas. Jaguars play
Oh,
2 games overseas. They play the Jaguars
they
versus the
always do.
Bills, and then the Ravens and Titans. Dolphins and Chiefs could be a good game. Colts
Oh,
Patriots probably not going to be an interesting game. And then on Black Friday, so the
yeah.
Longhorns play on Black Friday this year, and then Aaron Rodgers and the Miami Dolphins
Ooh,
play on Black Friday at 2, so I'm pretty sure there might be
cool.
some scheduling around that. Longhorns probably will play at night on Black Friday, but
Yeah, they always do.
that's the NFL's first Black Friday game. They announced that. I think that was Adam Schefter, but I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime announced it right before Adam Schefter. So
Cool.
that's everybody was dogging on Adam Schefter today on Twitter.
All right, real quick,
Um,
and then wait, real quick. I have to talk. If you know about that, I want to talk about the NBA draft lottery real quick. And who do you think is going to win the NBA draft lottery? Because that's on
Dallas
Sunday. And
Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks.
I've been waiting all season
Dallas
and all
Mavericks.
off season for this freaking
Dallas
lottery.
Mavericks. Yeah, well, you've been waiting. You're gonna continue waiting regardless because you're not getting the first
I
overall
just
pick.
want to, as a Spurs fan, I want a top three pick. If we get Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, or Vicky, then that's all I want. That's all I want.
That
And
dude's
oh my
different.
gosh,
We
dude,
will
he's
we'll talk
different.
about we will break it down. Okay,
Oh, I will.
draft.
Oh my gosh, I'll be ecstatic.
We will break it down next episode. The Chicago Blackhawks. I'll just break this down because you gave me.
Oh,
Okay, the Chicago Blackhawks won the NHL draft lottery. Connor Bedard sweepstakes. Probably, I think he's undisputed. They say he's the best prospect since Connor McDavid. Which, if you know anything about Connor McDavid, he's a pretty freaking good hockey player. Um, but anyway, that the Mavericks. There's this. I follow this account on Instagram. I think I've already said this. I follow this account on Instagram where he just does the draft lottery and they roll it, and it's just every draft every day. He rolls the draft lottery and he posts it. And the Mavericks have won the draft lottery 5 out of the.
Oh, dude.
I'm not getting any hope. I'm just saying
Nah.
we're keeping our top 10 picks, so we'll have a top 10 pick, which is good for us.
Y'all don't
Um,
deserve it. Y'all actually don't deserve it at all. Y'all deserve Y'all deserve the 37th pick. Y'all don't deserve a first round pick. Like,
shut
we
no.
deserve it. We tanked the right way. We tried to win games.
So
We did
you're
it
just
the
saying
right way.
you are saying right now your team is just so incredibly bad. Y'all tried to win games and only won.
Yes,
How many games did
yes.
y'all win? Like 20?
We win.
Did y'all even win 20?
We won 19.
The Rockets are getting the first overall
We won
pick. I'm
22. We
sorry.
won 22 games. We won
Yeah, I was about
22
to
games.
say. Yeah, I don't think anybody. Actually,
Have the
maybe.
second best odds in the whole NBA.
So
Just
it's
give us
Houston.
Mickey.
It's
It's
Houston.
no, it's Detroit.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
the top three. Wait,
No, it's not Detroit. Is it really?
yeah, Detroit won 17 games.
Oh.
Yeah, so the bottom three teams in the NBA all have the same odds. So it's us, the Detroit, and the Rockets. All have a 20 or like 18% chance.
As dirty as the Spurs getting Wemby would be, imagine a Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Victor Wembanyama big three. Detroit would be.
I don't have a coach, bro. We got Pop, bro. We got
What do
Pop.
you mean? Dwayne Casey led the Raptors all those
He got
years.
fired, dude. He retired.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did.
The leader of LeBronto, bro.
Yes. Oh, and then one more thing. Do you see anything about that? First of all, Bronny committed to USC
Yeah,
on
Bronny
Instagram
committed to
today.
USC.
Cool. That was basically it. It's like he's staying in California, whatever. It
Not today. Did you say today?
was like today or yesterday. It was over the
VB, that
weekend or
was
something
like
like that.
4 days ago, I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
Those
well,
were
Bronny committed. We didn't talk about
okay.
last week.
Anyway,
So
Bronny committed it.
Bronny
Yeah,
committed to USC, and then Bob Huggins, suspended from West Virginia basketball. West Virginia basketball coach for over 20 years. For when talking on a podcast about Xavier, and he called them Catholic.
don't. Yeah, don't
I
say it.
know. Yes. Catholic bad F word.
Just go look it up. Just go look it up.
Not the duck F word, but the
He
other
used
F
a
word.
he used a slur.
Yeah, he used a
Just go
slur.
look it up.
And he
Um, one
$1 million, yeah, $1 million reduction on his base salary, and he's gonna miss 3 games, I think.
that is bad.
Don't say
Whatever.
don't say something stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Don't get on here.
Okay.
On the podcast
Last
and
thing.
say
Last thing.
some
Last
crazy
thing.
stuff.
I know nobody gives a crap about this. We're not. I'm not even gonna be able to watch this game. Nor am I gonna be able to watch anything. We're gonna be at prom. The XFL for anybody that cares. The XFL championship. The the Arlington Renegades. If they win the championship, if they win a football championship in Arlington and it's not the Cowboys, the memes that are gonna go on. VB, I'm only saying this because the Cowboys. VB.
Sorry, shit, dude. Crap. Dude.
If I'm only saying this to hate and meme on the Cowboys because if the Cowboys if this XFL like people were playing or people were cleaning bathrooms last year at Whataburger are playing in this league and they win a championship, a professional league, and it's not the Dallas Cowboys that win and they bring a championship to the city of Dallas and it's not the Cowboys, the memes are gonna forever be embedded
Yeah, I
on
actually hope
that.
they lose.
I
I hope they
it it
lose.
it's gonna be a good game on the because the last time they played I think it was like 26-20, but it was like double overtime. Anyway, that was the last thing. Football, interesting. I won't even get able to watch it because we'll be at prom. But that's really it. VB, is there anything? I think there. No, there's nothing else.
Okay. Rangers
Any
won an away
yeah, Rangers
series
won.
against the Mariners today.
Mariners.
Close game, 1-4-3. Took a series on the road versus the Mariners. That's awesome.
Any
Being a division
soccer?
rival.
Any soccer? I've been trying to
Any
get into
soccer?
that.
1-1 Champions League semifinal versus Real Madrid and
How's
Man
Chelsea
City.
doing?
I watched that game. Chelsea's not getting relegated. They're gonna stay in the Premier League. And then today, Milan Derby, Inter Milan won 2-0 with Dzeko scoring and somebody else scoring that. I didn't watch that game. I watched the other Champions League final game yesterday. But yeah,
Alrighty.
that's about it.
Well, that'll close it out. Everybody, 2 weeks from now, Mage competing, trying to go for that Triple Crown. Anybody that cares about horse racing. That'll wrap it up for this podcast. Chase, okay, this is the thing. Chase has said he's going to be on, and then and then he
Dude,
bails at the last minute.
Chase
Okay,
is a
but
baby, bro. Dude, he
he
was
is
like
he
me in the
does have
summer. He was
yeah
like
he
me in the spring actually. It was cold.
he does have college. He just finished I think last week, so he was studying and everything. But he's at a party.
Taking pictures, bro, takes up a lot of time like the
Yeah.
rest of the week.
But anyway,
Loser.
so he apparently will be back in town Saturday. He said once he's back in Texas, he will be able to record. So next week, not
Bleh.
making any promises. Don't
He'll be
just
on.
he'll be
He'll
on
be on.
hopefully. Like hopefully he will join us, and he said he'll talk some soccer
He'll be
because
on. Yeah,
you and yeah he's a really big whatever it's called. I'm trying to get into it. I just don't know
it's
what's
fine. It's fine. I'll help you get into it. But yeah, Chase will be on with us next week. We'll talk about. I'm excited to do this. I'm gonna plan it. We're gonna do over and unders for college football. What we like betting wise. Over under wins for all the Power Five teams.
that's coming up, but yeah, we can do that. We can do that because then we'll just do a whole episode of just yeah, we'll do that, and then the NFL because the NFL schedule had just come out
Yeah,
as well,
and we'll
so
review
we can
draft
do
lottery.
over under. Yeah, we can do all that. The NBA draft lottery, obviously talk about the NHL and NBA playoffs still going on.
Uh,
I think by that point we'll have a good look at who we think is going to be in the finals for both sports.
yeah,
But obviously you never know.
Champions League
So
final.
yeah, that
We'll have a lot to talk about
yeah,
next
we'll have
week.
a lot to talk about next week. Hopefully Chase will be on. Yeah, that'll wrap it up.
Shout out, Mr. Dan. Razorbacks were rolling. Let's go.
Alrighty, we'll see you later.